Hello and welcome to 7 Days of Yoga. I'm Laura and today marks day 3 of your journey, which will focus on lifting and lengthening within your practice. So we'll meet in our seated pose again. Find whatever works for you. Maybe stay in kneeling today, or you could go on a bolster, a blanket, cushions, raise the seat up for a nice cross-legged. Find the seat that works for you today. As you begin to settle, maybe allow the gaze to soften. Allow the stillness to come in. Coming gently back to your breath. The awareness of the inhale and the exhale. Gentle rise and fall of the belly. The rib cage expanding, contracting. And in your seat, you can begin to find this length in your body. As you draw up from your seat, drawing that energy up through the bottom of the spine, up through the belly, drawing up past the rib cage, up to the shoulders as they melt down the back, feeling that length running up through the neck and up through the crown of the head. Like a string is gently pulling you up from the crown. Finding that nice lift and lengthen within. And begin to flutter the eyes open. Settling into this place. As we welcome some gentle movements, we'll start with some side stretches. So taking your right arm out to the side, gently resting the fingertips down. And as you sweep the left arm out, we begin to lift it up and over. Finding that length in the side body. Pulling that arm across, exhaling to soften. Inhaling to lift and lengthen. Exhaling, softening. Inhale, sweeping the arm down, back to center. Repeating on the opposite side, so taking those left fingertips down onto your mat, and then raising that right arm up and over as it lifts up over the head and draws over to the side. Exhale, softening down. And then inhaling to lengthen and breathe into that side body. Exhale to soften. And inhale back to center. And we'll take a gentle forward fold together as well. So as you begin to pad those hands forward, just gently drawing the hands forward, maybe on fingertips, palms down, whatever works for you. Keeping the spine nice and long. You can keep the head lifted. We're not dropping all the way down. We're keeping a nice length here. Pulling the chest forward. Inhaling, finding that length, pulling the chest forward whilst the seat still pulls back onto the feet or onto the props behind you. Almost pressing away with the fingertips. Finding that length in the side body. Across the shoulders here in the back, and the hands, the arms. Exhale, soften down. Then inhale, gently pad back to your center here. We'll meet on our mats and on all fours in our tabletop. So finding your nice strong foundations here, pressing the hands down. As we invite some gentle cat-cows in to bring the breath into the body, So as we exhale, we push the mat away. Feel like you're pushing that mat and the breath out at the same time. Tucking the tailbone under, rounding the spine, lifting the back up, arching, and then dropping down for your inhale for your cow. Lifting the tailbone up, the chest forward. And then exhale out for your cat. Arching up. Inhaling, dropping down, pulling the chest forward. And once more, exhaling, pressing away. Then inhaling forward. And then back to center. And then coming to the long edge of your mat. We're going to practice our gate pose today. So coming up, your kneeling position here at the front of your long edge of your mat here. And then taking your left foot out to the side. Maybe the heel is raised, the foot's down. Find the stance that works for you here today. You can stay a little bit bent if having it straight doesn't work for you. Lifting up here. And we'll flow with our gait a little bit today. So taking your right hand down to the side of the mat and sweeping that left arm up and over to find length. Inhaling long across the side body. Find that nice long line all the way from the foot right up to the fingertips. And then inhale back to center. Rest the hand right on the top of the thigh. Down on the shin. As you come over. Sweeping the right arm over the top. Finding length in the side body. Exhaling to soften. And then inhaling, sweeping back to center. Drawing that left foot back in, the left knee back down. And repeating on the opposite side. So we'll take the right foot out to the side. Pressing firmly into your mat, into the outer blades of the feet. The foot is down. Finding that length and lift up through the spine, through the crown of the head. As you begin to take that left hand down to the mat, maybe up on the fingertips or down. Lifting up gently as you begin to sweep that right arm up and over. Find that length, that long diagonal line across the body. Inhaling to lengthen. Exhaling to soften. Then inhaling back up as that right hand slides down the leg. And maybe it just rests here on the thigh. It goes further down onto the shin. As the left arm sweeps up and over. Finding length in the side body. Exhale to soften. And then inhaling back to center. And we'll meet back in our tabletop, but very briefly as we're going to come up into our downward dog. So finding the stance that works for you, ready to lift into your downward dog. I like to have my hands a little bit further forward than tabletop, tucking the toes under as you begin to lift the knees up, pressing the hips back up behind you and away. Finding that nice strong foundation, the hips lifting back. And then begin to pad the feet forward for our Uttanasana, our forward fold. Keeping a nice bent leg here. And feeling the chest relaxing on the thighs. Finding that length across the hamstrings here, a nice stretch. Coming into the breath. Feeling the feet firmly pressing into your mat as you begin to come up for your Tadasana, your standing mountain pose. Pressing firmly into the feet as you begin to lift the spine up, peeling it up vertebrae by vertebrae, the head hanging down still, the last thing to come up. And into our Tadasana here. Finding that lifting action up through the feet, through the body. So we lengthen. Shoulder blades melting down. Crown of the head, feel like it's being gently pulled up. And then meeting at the long edge of our mat here, wherever works for you so you can see, as we will explore a rather exciting and a favorite pose of mine, which is tree pose, which is all about finding that lovely length, that lift in us and playing with the balance a little bit. So we'll set ourselves up because we'll explore some variations for this. One of them being to have a brick to hand. If you don't have bricks, you can use anything that just gives your foot a little bit of height. If you feel that's something you might need today, you can use books, maybe some jars, anything you've got that just gives a bit of height and some sturdiness. So one way to come into tree is to place the block in between your feet in your Tadasana first. Finding that strong stance. And then pressing into that right foot as the left one begins to peel up. And then maybe we play with it coming up onto the block. A little bit of balance there just to get the foot up. Maybe this is where your tree stays today. Helps just give you some balance so you can explore this pose a little bit. So as that foot comes up onto the block, the knee presses out to the side. I struggle with this actually because my hips don't really, I find, turn that way so easily. But one thing I find that helps is to imagine this knee drawing down. And by doing that, it sort of opens it up a little bit more. So imagine the drawing down action of that knee as you lift up through the spine. The hands meet in prayer. And this is a lovely, gentle introduction to tree. And then begin to release. Bring that foot down to the side. And repeat on the opposite side. So pressing firmly into that foot. The left foot, you need to peel the right one up. And here's where the balance plays a little bit as you bring it up onto your block. You can look and see what you're doing. As that right knee takes down to the side, imagine it pulling down to the ground. Keeping the hips nice and level if you can. And drawing the hands to center. Finding a nice length through the body. Tucking the navel in, the rib cage in to keep that nice steady posture. Inhale tall. And exhale to soften. And then releasing back down. And we'll do it again. You can repeat it with the block if that felt good for you. Or maybe you want to explore it without. So again, some variations of where your tree can be found today. And maybe if you want to play with different variations of tree, we can start something else. So taking that right foot firmly pressing into the mat. The left foot can first of all just come here, resting against the side of the foot. And this is fine. We can just be here. Maybe you want to play with the balance, so really rooting that right foot firmly down. Maybe lift the left foot up and it can meet the side of the shin here. Or if you want to maybe go a little bit further with this practice, you can press again firmly down into the right foot, lifting the left foot up and bringing it into the side of the thigh. Pressing firmly in, finding a focal point definitely helps. Then feeling that knee drawing down as the arms come to center. You can always play with the arm positioning as well in this pose. Maybe they go to the side or up, whatever works for you. Inhaling, lifting, lengthening tall. And exhale to release. And then repeating on the opposite side. So maybe you want to play with a different variation now. So rooting firmly down with that left foot. As that right foot, maybe it comes and it stays here. Find that lovely length in your tree. Maybe it comes into the shin, to the side here. Or maybe we go for another expression of tree. And I invite you to play with this, with whatever variation works for you today. Just focusing on that strong foundation, pressing down, lifting and lengthening up. Find that nice long line out the crown of the head. Softening in where you can. And then exhaling, coming back down. Well done. It can be tricky, that one. And then coming back to the front of our mat here as we begin to come back down from our practice. So from our tree and our nice mountain pose here, we'll exhale and come down for our Uttanasana, our forward fold. Lovely, generous bend in the knees here. As the torso rests on the thighs, the hands come down. As we begin to walk the feet back, bringing the knees down, the toes come together. Nice wide stance in the knees as we come down for a child's pose. And we can still find our length in this as you draw the hands forward, pulling that body forward and pulling the tailbone back, finding length across the spine. Beginning to inhale and draw the body back up. As we get ready for our Shavasana. So coming down onto your mat, finding your Shavasana that works for you today. Blankets under the head, pillows, bolsters under the knees, blanket for the body. Whatever variation works for you. You can always have the knees up as well, maybe they come in together if that's more comfortable for you. Find your Shavasana as the body begins to soften down into the mat. Beginning to release any tension, stiffness, letting it melt away. Bringing the awareness to the breath. Giving thanks again to yourself for coming here today and continuing your journey, this practice. Finding that lovely lift and length throughout your body. Giving thanks for this time spent on your own self-care. Inhale in and exhale out.